Hello guys, this is the Nuke, or the Nuclear Strategist, and welcome to episode 3 of Azur Teachers Academy. So, why has it been this long to do episode 3? Well, partly because I have school. Another thing is, I've been busy with a lot of things, like helping out around the house with my project, with my dad, for house projects. Anyway, so I'm gonna mute the voice, and right now we are gonna be doing episode 3. So we're gonna be talking about submarines and anti-sub warfare. So previously, I think we talked about EXP leveling. So to understand the basics of submarines, we have to go back to the history of, you could say, World War One and World War Two, because the the British back in World War One developed a depth charge where if you explode something underwater close to something, you could at least try to damage something, or if not, try to sink it. So the British invented the depth charge. So depth charge alone is not enough to hunt down a submarine. What you need is, let me show you right here, and I'm going to go to one of my ships that I have. What you need is sonar. Now, sonar sends out a pulse where, when an object that's moving gets hit, it bounces back and it shows up on your radar. So, except the sonar is for underwater, radar is for, it's not only for on land, it's also to track aircraft in the air. So radar technology has developed a little bit, as well as sonar. Sonar was, I think, invented by the French, and then used by the British, and then used by the Japanese and the Americans during World War II. So basically, that's to understand the basics of anti-sub warfare. So how a submarine works is that, well, World War I and World War II subs were used. However, they were mostly used for reconnaissance, deep behind enemy lines type of thing. Not only that, they were also deployed to disrupt supply lines, especially with their torpedoes. So basically, subs were meant to deter enemy supply lines. Not only that, but if they found a big target like a battleship or maybe an aircraft carrier, they might try to sink it, because it's a big ship, and if you can put a big ship with heavy firepower out of action, that's good. You can turn the war favor in your hands with one single blow, like that. Well, I mean, they could make a lot of other ships, but the materials put in to try to make a battleship it's going to take a long time to recover. So it's kind of like the same thing as sinking an aircraft carrier, because you're reducing the amount of enemy airplanes in the sky, because the aircraft go down with the ship, pretty much. So, without further ado, let's do an SOS mission. So, over here, once you, I think, hit level 30, you unlock Commander level 30, you unlock submarines. So, after that, you should get your first sub, and then you hit the SOS. You should also have advanced depth charge and the sonar equipment, because you are going to be hunting submarines. And these will be very important, because you cannot combat submarines without a depth charge and sonar. You can combat with depth charge, but another ship has to have sonar. Otherwise, you can't detect the submarine. So So this is what we're talking about in today's lecture. Now, we're going to go to SOS signal. As you can see, you have a certain amount of range, and you can read this anytime you want. So, I particularly put my anti-submarine warfare equipment on my destroyers because destroyers during World War II were the primary warship to hunt down submarines. And the reason why destroyers do it better compared to cruisers and battleships is due to the fact that not only can they dodge torpedoes, but they're smaller. And another thing is they are really agile, so they can close in on the enemy really quickly. If a sub is surface, you can attack it, obviously. So click the search signal, and now you see part 3. You see the sub icon over here? That was from the SOS. So you click on this, you hit go, and then you hit go again. So before I go into battle, let's talk about a little bit about this grid sector. This grid sector is how much your subs can cover. Yes, you also have submarines, which you not only build through special construction, sometimes they run events as well. So you can always call in for your submarine support. So let's go into auto battle, see what happens. The boss obviously is going to be a submarine because we are in an SOS mission where they require us to find out what is destroying our supply ships pretty much. You can call in the, as you can see, the enemy submarine has been detected. And you see that torpedo and the bubbles? This bubble coming up over here, you can actually find out that this is a submarine. Because first of all, you wouldn't see torpedoes and bubble trails underwater unless if it was a submarine. Well, I mean, you would see bubble trails from torpedoes, but that's the way this game worked. So, as you can see, I had a depth charge, and I just engaged one of the enemy submarines. My USS Alwyn took a big beating, but that's okay. Let's go and attack again. So basically, this is just explaining the basics of it. You can also put equipment on your subs. I'll explain a little bit about this later. The important thing is to have your anti-submarine warfare equipment equipped whenever you're going to battle against subs. Because without that, you're not going to detect the submarine, and you're going to lose and fail the mission. That's why it's so important. I'm going to attack this one. Let's see what happens. Come on, sink him, sink him. Depth charge. Launch some depth charges. I think my Alwyn's almost dead. But this should explain the basics of anti-submarine warfare. Yeah, my Alwyn needs repair. So basically, that's what it says, pretty much. Now, if I'm so just like regular ships, submarines have their own equipment. Let's go to subs. You can use this interface to sort out what are submarines. SS stands for subs. So she has some special equipment. As you can see, um, you can get these blue equipment through the basic crates. From if you go to build and then you go to exchange and go to items, there will be a submarine starter pack, and I think what that includes is not only anti-submarine warfare, but it also includes submarine equipment like Mark 14 torpedoes. So basically, that's what it is. Now, as you upgrade your subs, their range gets extended. So if I was to go to days, for example, and then ASR stands for, I'm not sure what ASR means, but what I do know is that she has a range. She has a hunting range. Now, if you combine that with all of the other ships, you'll have an even bigger range. So basically, what it's to do is to the more you upgrade them, upgrade the torpedoes and throw in better equipment, the much better range they can cover over a long distance. So if you can do that, you can head to areas where submarines once could not go and actually cover a whole lot bigger area. That's basically what ASR is. It's the range that you can cover. Now, some of these submarines also have skills, which is extra oxygen. Extra oxygen allows them to stay submerged longer than usual. Because anytime when a submarine surfaces, they are vulnerable, which is what happens in real life. When you surface, you're vulnerable to a lot of warship fire, specifically aircraft. Aircraft can not only drop bombs, but they can drop depth charges and kill you. Well, that's what happened in real life. Anyway, so you can get those equipment. There's these two are the mandatory equipment I recommend you put on all your subs. So if I go to the core exchange shop, you have improved snorkel, which allows submarines to take care while underwater, allows them to stay underwater a little bit longer because they improve your oxygen. Improved batteries, even though they increases the submarine's range. So that means that they can cover a whole larger area compared to before, where they did not have the improved storage battery. As you may know, the submarines need to recharge their batteries on the surface before they head underwater again. So, improved battery allows them to stay underwater longer, but in this situation, it increases the range, and also it increases the evasion, because if you go to the wiki, you can search up these specific equipments and find out what they help your sub with, as well as what the description says. I'm gonna buy something, buy this, buy that, and now we're gonna go and call in submarine support because I want to show you what it looks like. So I'll call in fleet number 2. We don't need to do submarine warfare for this. We can do it directly from here. Call second fleet. Now for this event, because they say Wolfpack and this stage says sink a submarine, sink that submarine, you can most likely anticipate that there will be enemy submarines in this event. So make sure you have your sonar and depth charge at the ready, because you will need it. So let's get the show over with. So how does submarine support work? Well, first of all, before I talk about submarine support, let's talk about this. We have attack mode, and which is designated by the triangle with the exclamation point, and we have the support mode, which is a circle with these two. I don't know why they have a pause there, but okay. This grid sector you can toggle on and off. You can actually reposition your sub. I think you can reposition your sub? No, actually you can't. I thought you could. So attack mode allows the submarine to, let's say the enemy enters the grid right here. Attack mode allows your submarine to soften up the target before you actually attack them, which makes them a lot easier if they have a lot of hit points, because bosses like these, they have a lot of hit points. Now, support mode is when you enter once you enter the battle, you can call them in. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. If I head here, and then let's show you attack mode first, and then head here. I'm not sure what the attack mode did. Maybe it's support mode? Let's see. Move here. What the heck? I'm not sure what's going on here. Let's try it. Oh, there we go. See, I think what you have to do is actually move the ship around, because I wasn't exactly sure how this worked. So once they're in attack mode, you have to engage one of the enemy targets, and then the next time the enemy moves, they will soften them up. As you can see, this is a big battle. So that's what attack mode looks like. Well, I called them in, so let's try support mode. Support mode gets rid of the attack mode so that they don't use as much ammo as they used to. So if I go over here, as you can see, the support mode, the attack mode did not activate because I changed it to support mode. You can play around with this to where you want, when you want to call your subs in. This is really helpful, especially against tougher bosses in the later chapters. You're going to need a lot of submarine help because torpedoes against warships, it would be really, it helps you out a lot, because sinking them is really important as quickly as possible. So that's just to demonstrate the support mode. I click the submarine on the bottom, and then the submarines come in, and they fire torpedoes. So that is pretty much how submarines and anti-submarine warfare looks like. You can also upgrade the equipment accordingly to the way you want it to. So this does it for episode 3 of understanding how to combat submarines and how to call submarines in for battle. Next episode, we're gonna go back to episode 2 because there was something I missed there. So next episode will be 2.1. No, episode number 2.1. Because I missed something, and I think it's better that I cover it now than later before it's too late. So if you guys enjoyed this video, like, and if you want to see more, subscribe to this channel for more. And I'll see you in episode 2.1, which will 2.1 will cover the EX. Well, it covered the EXP leveling, but there was something I missed, which was the lecture hall. So we're gonna go there in the next episode. So enjoy, guys. The nuke out.